them suckers to move. I ain't in the mood. Got me with the crew, let me do what I do. I tell them suckers to poof. Got me in the booth, lobby in the truth. Let me do what I do. Yeah, remember when the U come through, enter the music jungle. Or back with the block, I used to rock, I used to fumble. I still rock down, drop the ball when I want to. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Manny.
My name's Alberto.
And this is the OnlyFights podcast.
Episode 14.
Wow, 14?
Yeah.
Hey.
It's going up there pretty quick, ain't
Hey.
Yeah,
man.
We had some, we had a UFC fight night last night.
Yeah, good fights.
Yeah, it was actually like during the day. I think the main card started like at 4.
Mm-hmm.
Paulo Costa versus Marvin Vettori. Very anticipated, what was supposed to be a middleweight fight. You know, we'll get more into that. So the card started off with light heavyweight fight, Nikolai Negumereanu versus Ike Villanueva. Pretty good fight. Nikolai got the knockout in the first round. He seems like a pretty good light heavyweight prospect coming up. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
The next one was a welterweight fight, Francisco Trinaldo versus Dwight. Seen Trinaldo fight a bunch. He's like a Brazilian veteran. He ended up getting the decision. It was a little controversial, right? There was like I think there was an eye poke and like a low blow.
Yeah, it was a bad eye poke
in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, they took a point, so I don't know if it was like controversial, but yeah.
Yeah, just the whole eye poke
he did
thing,
dominate the majority of the fight, though. I think.
Yeah, got the point taken away and still got the unanimous decision. So he must have, probably beat him up pretty good. The next fight was pretty good. Alex Caceres versus Choi Sung-woo. Caceres got rocked early in the first round. Got dropped, right? He got dropped. He was on the ground. Choi jumped on top of him, and then he hit him with an illegal knee.
Yeah.
He hit him with like a knee to the head while he was on the ground. The ref stopped it right away. Caceres did seem like he was like a little wobbled from it. I wasn't sure if the fight was gonna resume.
He blew his chance. I mean, he was hurt from a punch and the beating that he was taking.
Yeah.
So like he kind of like screwed himself there.
And then he hit him with the illegal knee. Ref stopped it. Caceres recovered. Doctor came in, checked him out. Everything was good. They continued. He survived the first round. Went into the second round, and Caceres like somehow gets it like. Uses the cage to jump up on his back and takes his back standing up and gets like the body lock in, the body lock triangle with his legs in right away and gets the choke. Like Choi Sung-woo drops down and you can't really tell if he got his arm under his chin, but he taps right away. So really impressive win, comeback win for Alex Caceres. Like he was hurt pretty bad and also suffered that illegal blow. But that was a good fight. I think this is Caceres' like 5th win in a row. He's been around for a while, but
5th one.
Yeah, he's putting on a nice run right now. Next fight was women's bantamweight, Jessica Rose Clark. This was her return to the octagon, like I think 2 years. She hadn't fought like in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Jocelyn Edwards, she was the first Panamanian fighter in the UFC. I think this is like her 3rd fight this year or something, and her 3rd fight in the UFC. She just started this year. She has like real good striking. Jessica Rose Clark was able to get her to the ground though, like over and over again.
Yeah.
Jocelyn's like combinations when they were standing up were really nice. Like you could tell like she was the superior striker, but she couldn't do anything about the takedowns. But Jessica Rose Clark also wasn't doing anything on top. Like she kept taking her down, and was just laying on her. Like wasn't even really trying a whole lot of ground and pound. Bisbing, I love Bisbing commentating. He keeps it so real. And he was saying the whole time, he goes, yeah, she's just laying there on top of her. Shit, this is like not exciting. He was pretty much like, being honest about it. It was cool. And then she wins a fight, and he kind of does her dirty in the post fight interview. He asks her like he's like, yeah, that was an impressive win. How do you feel about it? And she was like, yeah, like I want to thank my coaches, this and that and that. And then he just goes, okay, Jessica Rose Clark, ladies and gentlemen, and just like walks out. Like then didn't ask her any other questions. Like it was kind of crazy.
Wow.
But after being off 2 years and stuff. I mean, the wrestling was impressive. Like she kept taking her down, but wasn't doing nothing with it. Light heavyweight fight was almost a similar story. Grant Dawson versus Rick Glenn. Grant Dawson's also a heavy wrestler. This guy's pretty good. I've seen him fight a bunch. And same thing, pretty much the first 2 rounds, was able to take Rick Glenn down and dominate him on the ground. I don't think I ever had him in any real trouble, but, had him on the ground, was, ground and pounding him. Third round, I think Grant Dawson just got gassed. That's the thing about that wrestling. That takes so much energy, to hold somebody down like that. So Rick Glenn, took advantage, and he had him down at the most of the time and beat him up pretty good. I'm pretty sure that was like a 10-8 round. He beat him up pretty good, and then ended up being a draw, which I don't know. I mean, I guess I can see how I guess it was, but
it depends on how you saw that third round, really, because like you said, if it was a 10-8 round, that is a draw.
yeah, it was definitely dominant. So yeah, I mean, I just hate draws, but I guess it made sense. It'd be tough to give Grant Dawson that fight after that third round. He had like nothing left in the tank. That was the co-main, and then the main event. So this fight ended up happening at light heavyweight. I don't even know where to start.
Yeah, well, start there. Like, how did it get from middleweight to light heavyweight? Like,
All right, so this was supposed to be middleweight fight. Fight week comes around, fighters land, and I guess Paulo Costa landed in Vegas. They said at like 218 or something.
Wow.
218. So on media day, he pretty much tells the UFC, I'm not gonna be able to make 186, which is like the limit that you get 1 pound over. He's like, I'm not gonna be able to make 186. So I'm gonna tell it from Marvin Vettori's point, because Costa just seems like he's lying about everything, and Marvin Vettori seems to be, I think he was being honest. It seemed like he was being honest. He said they told him that he wasn't gonna be able to make 185, so he was like, okay, well, I'll fight this guy at whatever weight. So he said that the first suggestion was 190, and I guess they said, oh no, that's not gonna be enough. He needs to fight at 195. So Vettori says they signed a bout agreement at 195, and then he says they're not gonna be able to make 195 like a day later. I think it's like, probably Thursday now. And then they say, okay, so it's gonna be 205. And credit to Marvin Vettori, he didn't have to take that fight, you know what I mean? Like he came in ready to make 185. And like from what Dana White said, he said like Vettori just had this thing in his head that he just pretty much convinced himself that Costa does not want to fight me, and I'm not gonna let him get away with it. You know what I mean? Like, he's just pretty much told himself, I'm gonna fight him no matter what. He even said, I'll fight him at heavyweight if he wants, whatever. So they agree at light heavyweight 205. Both fighters weigh in. They both make weight. Costa still looks dehydrated, and he looked huge. Like he looked massive. It was crazy. And also I forgot. I wanted to mention there was an interview they did, like when Paulo Costa first said he wasn't gonna make 185. They did an interview on the ESPN with the ESPN guy. I think Brett Okamoto was his name or whatever.
Yeah.
And they were both there via Zoom, and Paulo Costa just like, he just makes himself look so stupid. Like, it's ridiculous. He's sitting there telling Marvin Vettori like, oh, I'll fight you at any weight. What weight do you want to fight at? 185, 195, 205. And Vittori's like, what are you talking about? You just like, we're here because you said you can't make 185. He's like, why are you acting as if like you didn't know that this fight is supposed to be at 185? You know what I mean? Like, it just seems so weird. And Costa didn't, they kept asking him, like, I mean, even Marvin and Brett asked him, the journalist asked him multiple times, like, what is going on? Why can't you make 185? And he's saying that, that the UFC suggested that we make this at a catch weight or whatever. And anybody knows Dana White. Dana White hates catch weight fights. He always says that. You know what I mean? He said they're pointless. Like, there's no reason having catch weight fights. So that's why I was surprised in the first place when they said that. I think Paulo Costa probably wanted to fight at 205 the whole time. You know what I mean? I think he almost wanted to, thought, oh, you know what? I'm gonna pull a fucking a Nick Diaz move and come in and just say I'm not gonna make weight, because they didn't make too much of a fiasco when a few weeks ago when Nick did that.
Right.
And when Paulo does it, it's like a whole, you know what I mean? It was a whole thing. But
Well,
he,
Nick was coming back from.
that's what I mean. And people love him, and people love him. He has the fans on his side. Like Paulo Costa's coming off like an embarrassing loss, and also that I think is kind of interesting. He had 2 fights scheduled before this. You know what I mean? Like his last 2 fights have been postponed or canceled pretty much. He was supposed to, he fought Izzy in 2020, and then he was supposed to fight Robert Whitaker, and that fight got canceled. And then he was supposed to fight Jared Cannonier, and that fight got canceled. The Izzy fight was his first loss, so I think also that was huge, like mentally. Like I think Izzy just like mentally destroyed that guy. You know what I mean? Like
Well, yeah. Well, it seems like dude can't really like take accountability because he was making excuses for that fight, and now he's
yeah,
basically trying to put the blame, for the whole weight thing on like the UFC or
exactly.
yeah, like
He's
it's just a bad look, man.
he's like completely ignoring it as if he didn't say that he can't make it. Dana White said that. Paulo Costa said that he can't make weight. Marvin Vettori said the same thing, but Paulo Costa makes it seem like the UFC wanted this at a higher weight.
Right.
Like it makes no sense. And then his English being so bad just doesn't help him at all. Like it just makes him sound so dumb. Like it's just embarrassing for lack of better words. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy. So I'm glad that Marvin Vettori took the fight and he gained my respect. Like I honestly wasn't a huge Marvin Vettori fan before this. Probably
Yeah.
because, his last fight was Izzy and I'm a big Izzy fan.
Yeah.
But now this guy got my whole respect. Like I followed him on Instagram and I fucking I was rooting for him. Like
Good shit.
he true professional and he pretty much kept saying I'm not gonna let this guy get away with it. And yeah, it was a hell of a fight though. It was a hell of a fight. And
Yeah.
so we speculated, that Paulo Pai had some kind of injury or something, because that's what he said. He said, "Oh, there's something going on in the camp, and I'm gonna let everybody know after the fight." You know what I mean? That's what he said to the media. And so we expected him to maybe not be in shape. I mean, he's already known for not having the best cardio. So we thought maybe he wasn't gonna be in good shape, or he had some kind of injury or something. Um, so that's what we thought going in. Marvin Vettori was the favorite, and then after that whole weight fiasco, he became even a more heavier favorite. And the fight was really good, man. It was a hell of a fucking fight. 5-round war. Paulo Costa looked huge. Like he looked enormous. He definitely looked way bigger. They said that he walked in the cage at 225.
Wow.
So he still cut like 20 pounds. That's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. And Vettori walked in at 206. So he pretty much didn't cut weight. He waited in like at 204.
Yeah.
Walked in the cage at 206. Costa walked in the cage at 225. That's fucking wild. That guy's a full light heavyweight. Like the fact that he could even make 185 is like mind blowing.
Yeah.
I don't know how he even did that before. And I think that is, and I think he knows that. That's why I think he did this on purpose, because he knows that obviously cutting that much weight, it makes you more susceptible to like knockouts and shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And this was a perfect example of it, because you look at when Izzy hit him. We know Izzy's not a huge power, a power striker. He's like super technical, but Izzy knocked him out. You know what I mean? Like Izzy
Yeah.
knocked him down and knocked him out. And Vettori was hitting this guy with bombs, and Costa was there the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I think he knows that. I think he knows that he probably got knocked out because his chin wasn't as good because of the cutting all that weight. And he was like, you know what? I don't want to fucking get knocked out again. Because
Yeah.
I think if he cuts that weight to 185, he probably does get knocked out. Because Vettori hit him with some bombs. And Paulo Costa even, it was pretty clear that he had even more power. Like he was hitting. Vettori got a crazy chin. Not even a chin. He got his whole body was like fucking.
Yeah.
He was taking some crazy body kicks. Man, it was wild.
He got hit with a low blow, right? In like the 3rd round or something.
Who?
Vettori.
Yeah, he did get hit with a low blow. And he didn't even take that much time. He wanted to keep going.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really good. Vettori had the high volume for sure. Anytime Costa landed something, Vettori got him back with a nice combination. So, Costa was landing his big power shots and Vettori was landing more high volume. And but his kicks, like that's what was most impressive, I think, about Costa. His head kicks and his body kicks were relentless. Like
Yeah.
it was crazy. In the second round, he catches Vettori right in the head clean, like fucking shin bone to side of the head. and Vettori's kind of wobbled a little bit, looks a little hurt, but is able to survive. That was really impressive. I don't know how he survived that head kick. That shit was crazy.
Yeah, that was bad.
And then right after that, Paulo Costa pokes him in the eye. He Paulo Costa.
That's what it was.
He's one of those guys that he fights with his fingers like straight out.
Yeah.
And he extended his hand. I think when he threw a kick, extended his hand and just was nasty eye poke.
Yeah, and the referee was warning him too a lot of times.
Early. Because like I said, he fights like that. He fights with his fingers straight out. Like that's what like that. And you can hear the referee tell him multiple times when it started in the first and second round, your fingers. And then so the ref decided to take a point with that first eye poke. He took a point, and I think it was valid.
Yeah.
And especially with everything else going on, like, fuck him. Like he deserved that shit. So the ref took a point, right there, for that one eye poke because he said I had already warned him.
Yeah, there was a lot of good officiating that whole night.
Yeah.
Shout out to those referees.
Yeah. I believe it was Herzog. Herzog was the one for the main event. He's been around for a while.
I think he was the one for the Trinaldo fight.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, so eye pokes obviously still a problem. I think it's the gloves. I think they gotta fix the gloves, but that's a whole other thing. So Vettori survives that second round, and I would say Vettori won the first round. Paulo Costa definitely won that second round, and then I would say Vettori won the third and fourth. He looked really good. It was pretty much stand up the whole time. I don't think anybody. I don't think there's any takedowns really. But yeah, really impressed by Vettori's chin, man. He was getting hit with bombs.
Yeah.
I mean, both guys really. And then I think those body kicks and the body shots, in that fifth round, finally started weighing on Vettori. He definitely was. You could see was. I don't know if he was tired or hurt. It was probably a combination of both. You know what I mean? Like, you can tell the body shots. He was ripping some crazy body punches and body kicks the whole fight. So you could tell it was finally getting to him. Costa was putting it on him a little more. Costa definitely impressed everybody by having the gas tank going all 5 rounds. So that's the big thing about how we expected him not to be prepared, but he seemed like he was really prepared. Like even Vettori said, he's like, I'm glad I didn't underestimate him because this guy, he wasn't injured and he was definitely ready and he had a gas tank. Maybe the best gas tank we've seen him ever have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So and the chin was there the whole night. It was a really impressive fight, really good fight. I'm glad it still happened at the end of the day. But I was really disappointed with how Paulo Costa acted even after the fight, post fight interview. Well, all right. So real quick, Vettori gets the unanimous decision, which I think he definitely won the fight.
Yeah.
So all the credit to him. Post-fight interview, we're all waiting to see what the fuck. Even I went right after the fights. I went to YouTube to watch that shit live.
Yeah.
To see what Costa was gonna say. Even they asked Dana White. Dana's like, I don't know. He's like, I'm gonna be sitting right next to you guys waiting to see what he says. And Paulo Costa comes out, and they asked him. He's like, oh yeah, no, it was nothing. I just came in a little heavy, this and that. And everybody was like, what the fuck? They keep trying to get it out of him, and then they're like, so was it an injury? Was it an injury? And then he just goes, yeah, it was a bicep injury. Just kind of it seemed like he just wanted to say something, just to say something.
Right.
But I don't understand how, you can still run if you have a bicep injury, right? I mean, I think so. I don't know how a bicep injury means that you come in, 30 pounds overweight.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So I don't know. I thought that was stupid. I don't think that was true. I think he just said the way he said it was almost like he just wanted to say, oh yeah, just they're gonna keep asking him. So yeah, it was bicep injury. So I think he planned this whole thing, man. I think he thought that it wasn't gonna be made such a big deal out of, and he was just gonna get the advantage over Vettori and have the strong chin and not be, not be depleted and all that shit. So. I think that was, I don't know, I didn't like it. Even though he put on a good performance. And then the other thing is he gave up 20% of his purse, which I think it should have been more, man, for going up a whole other weight class like that.
Yeah.
I think they should have punished the fighters more with that, man. A lot of these fighters are making money in other places, and they were like, all right, fuck it, I'll give up 20%, you know what I mean, and maybe have an advantage. I think they should have took away more of it. It was crazy. And Vettori said that he didn't really negotiate for more of it. He said he pretty much said yes to everything. You know what I mean? He said he signed like 3 different bout agreements,
Yeah.
and that's crazy.
Yeah, he just wanted to fight.
So yeah, man, Marvin Vettori is a fucking animal. Really, really, really good fight. I don't know what's next for him. He already fought Izzy twice. It's gonna be really hard for him to get a third fight. You know, unless Izzy goes up. Unless Izzy tries again to go up to light heavyweight, which I think he probably will eventually. But the next, so Izzy's fighting Whitaker, so he could probably maybe fight the loser of that. Like if because he hasn't fought Whitaker yet, so if Izzy beats Whitaker, he could fight Whitaker. And then the other big middleweight fight coming up is Jared Cannonier versus Derek Brunson. Derek Brunson is on a big win streak, so if he beats Cannonier, I think either one of them. I think whoever wins that fight out of Cannonier and Brunson will be the next probably to fight for the title at middleweight. So Vettori could probably get the loser of that fight too. Either one.
Yeah.
I could definitely see him being champ, and now I'm kind of rooting for him. Now I would like to see him be champ one day. So yeah, it was a good night. Good night at UFC.
Word. Yeah, and right after that, we had the top rank card with Shakur Stevenson taking on Jamel Herring. That was a pretty good card, man.
Oh, yeah.
I started with the main card started with Nico Ali Wash, grandson of Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a really good job selling that, because they were in Atlanta, where that's where they had the Olympics when Ali lit the torch.
Mm-hmm.
So they had, they made a big deal about that, and it was good though, man. He came out, stopping James Wesley the second, 30 seconds into the third round.
Nice.
Yeah, but he did take some shots, man. He took
Yeah.
some damage. Was eating a lot of big overhand rights. Didn't keep that left hand up, man. Didn't make any adjustments. So that's something that Sugar Hill, is gonna have to work on.
Yeah.
So yeah. And before that, actually in the prelims, you had Evan Holyfield, son of Evander Holyfield.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh, his son?
yeah,
Oh,
he got like 100 kids, and none of them box except like I guess I don't know if that's his youngest or what, but nah, he seriously has like 11 kids. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, but
I bet.
and the only one of them decided to be one of them is a running back for the Eagles actually.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. But yeah, he has one son that's a boxer, Evan Holyfield. He stops Charles Stanford brutally, actually, in the second round. But same thing, man. Like he was getting touched up a lot. In the fight, in the process.
Yeah.
His dad was in the crowd, and eventually ended up in the corner after the fight.
Mhm.
Smiling, and that was nice to see.
That's dope.
Yeah, but co-main, you had prospect out of San Juan, Puerto Rico, Xander Zayas.
Mhm.
Taking on Dan Carpenti. Not much to say about this, man. Zayas just looking sharp, looking strong. Looking like he might be the next guy for Puerto Rico.
Nice.
He stops Carpentian after 4 rounds. They forcing the corner to weigh the towel, and he improves to 11-0 with 8 KOs. Yeah, man, he's looking real good, man. We got Edgar Berlanga too, but he didn't look too good in his last fight. Remember, he
Yeah.
got dropped, and
Yeah.
wasn't his best performance. Zayas though, he's looking sharp. He's looking bright.
Nice.
I'm liking what I'm seeing from dude. Yeah. And then moving on to the main event, really interesting matchup. Shakur Stevenson taking on Jamel Herring. Shakur Stevenson being the young, really, really, really good fighter. Really, stylistically, he has almost like a, dare I say, like Floyd Mayweather like
Mhm.
style. Really defensive, and his defense is his offense, and but we never really seen him, put it on people, especially at the level of a Jamel Herring.
Yeah.
Jamel Herring, kind of one of those throwback fighters. He um suffered some losses. I seen him lose here in the Santander Arena.
Oh shit.
Um, and then he got dropped by his promoter, and had a nice little comeback. He's a former Marine. He served like 2 tours.
Damn.
He suffered a terrible loss. His daughter, an infant daughter, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah, like I guess she wasn't breathing,
That's sad.
and yeah, that's horrible. So he's been through some shit, man. And this is a good test for the young Shakur Stevenson. Jamel Herring being, I forget the ages, man. I think Shakur Stevenson is 23,
Yeah,
and
a lot of hype around him, right?
and Herring is like the opposite, like 32 or something like that, 33, something like that.
Was he a champ yet or not? Not yet.
Who's that?
Shakur Stevenson.
In featherweight, yeah.
Okay.
He moves up to 130 to take on Jamel Herring for his
Okay.
title. And man, like Stevenson just looked good
Yeah.
overall, all around. He had Jamel Herring looking confused. Uh, and Herring is trained by Buddy McGirt. I'm sorry, Buddy McGirt. Bomac. Terrence Crawford's
Yeah.
trainer, and he just couldn't get it going, man. He had a few rounds where he had some we had the green light, but for the most part, man, Shakur Stevenson was just putting it on him
Yeah.
really, really bad. So he wins by stoppage in the 10th round. It was kind of weird though. I didn't like the stoppage at all.
The ref stopped it.
Yeah, because in the ninth round, Jamel suffers a cut in the right eye, and it's not a bad cut, but it is bleeding a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the beginning of the 10th round, referee calls a halt to the action to get the doctor in, and the doctors pretty much just quickly looked at it and just said, "Nah, he's good." So fight resumes, and after a few more flurries of what's been going on for pretty much the most fight with Shakur Stevenson putting it on him, referee just kind of stops the fight, and I don't know, man. It was just like a weird stoppage, man. I think somebody like a Jamel Herring, but by the way, both these guys are Olympians,
Yeah.
and a man who served his country in the Marines. I think he deserves to go out in a shield, especially since he wasn't getting hurt.
Yeah.
He was being outboxed terribly, but
Did he protest it?
I mean, nah, but if you know his character,
Yeah.
that's another thing, man. Leading up into this fight, Shakur Stevenson was just acting like really, like childish,
Mhm.
being the younger guy, and real juvenile, and like talking trash. And if you saw the weigh-ins, and he was trying to take his belt. He was like, "Yo, give me my title."
Yeah.
Like like acting like, and Jamel was just kind of like taking it like, "Man, I feel you.
Yeah.
You a kid. He was being a grown man about it." So
Yeah.
I think with the whole like stoppage, he didn't protest it. He knew he wasn't gonna win that fight. Um, but yeah, man. And then after the fight was nothing but love and respect. So that was cool, man. But just like I said, man, absolutely brilliant performance from Shakur Stevenson. Uh, I don't know, man. There's really not much to say about that. Jamel Herring, still a great fighter. He'll still be around.
Yeah.
I'm sure. But yeah, I think man, I really think we're watching the beginnings of something really great with Shakur Stevenson, like a
The next one.
like a Floyd Mayweather, like a Canelo Alvarez,
Yeah.
like an Andre Ward. I think he's gonna be something like that.
You think he'll keep moving up in weight?
Yeah, he's pretty big. You know what I'm saying? He got a couple more weight classes in him.
Nice.
I see that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can't wait. You know, to see what goes on here. I'm guessing maybe Oscar Valdez. Um, uh, yeah, some of those guys at 130.
Yeah.
Be nice, or move up to 135, and then that's when things will really get interesting. You know what I'm saying? Because
Word.
that's a really lit division right there. Um,
There was also some Bellator So
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Bellator.
Fedor, right?
Yeah, the legend Fedor fought Tim Johnson and knocked him out in the first round. Crazy
Yeah.
knockout.
Yeah.
In his home country too. They were in Moscow, Russia, and he's Russian. And
In Fedor's country?
yeah,
Nice.
so he was at home, got the big knockout. A lot of people thought this might be his last fight, depending how it went. But after this, is like, we don't know. We don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, that dude. Wow, man. Talk about
45 years old.
veteran, man.
Fuck yeah.
Wow.
He
45.
he never made it to the UFC, which is crazy to me. But he fought in Pride and fought a lot of those guys that we know from the UFC. Fought them in Pride. He actually retired in 2012. Retired and then came out of retirement in 2015 when he came to Bellator. Yeah, so it's just crazy to see him still fighting. Um, I was reading some shit that was saying, that he wanted to go to the UFC, but he never wanted to sign like an exclusive deal with the UFC. He wanted to do like a cross promotion thing,
Oh,
and
okay.
Dana White's like, Dana White doesn't play that shit.
Right.
So yeah, so I guess it was just negotiations. Like Dana White said, he always wanted to get him to the UFC, but never could. And honestly, I don't know how Fedor does against some of those guys back then, man. The UFC, I feel like at that time had some monster heavyweights like fucking Kane and fucking like Dos Santos. Like
yeah.
I don't know how Fedor does against all those guys.
Lesnar.
Yeah, Lesnar. That was a fight that they wanted to make when Lesnar was the champ. They were gonna give Fedor, come into the UFC and give him the title shot right away. That would have been a crazy fight, Lesnar versus Fedor.
Damn, yeah, that would have been nice.
That would have been wild. But I guess they could never agree to it. Dana White never wanted to do a cross promotion, and it never happened. So he never came to the UFC. And he's regarded as one of the probably the greatest heavyweight. A lot of people regard him as the greatest heavyweight of all time in MMA.
Yeah, that I can definitely see. That was like around the Floyd versus Manny, and if we're ever gonna get that fight era.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see why Dana didn't want to do the cross promotion thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a Bellator. I didn't watch any other Bellator fights. I don't know if there was any other fights this weekend, right? Was there anything else on boxing or no?
Not that I can remember.
Coming up on Wednesday, there's gonna be PFL, and Clarissa Shields is fighting Abigail Montez in her second MMA fight.
Nice.
She fights at 155 for women's. So I'm excited to see her fight, man. I follow her on Instagram and shit now, and been following her for a while now, and want to see her. Want to see her do good.
I love Clarissa Shields, man, and that's crazy because she has a boxing fight, like in December 11th.
Yeah.
December 11th. So last week I forgot to mention that Savannah Marshall, successfully defended her WBO strap against Lita Mosea, second round knockout. It was nice. So she's gonna fight somebody to be announced December 11th. They're gonna have Clarissa Shields on the undercard, and
yeah, that's crazy. She's gonna go back and
taking
forth.
on Emma Posen. So that they're gonna try to set up what would be a rematch between the two from the amateur days.
Oh yeah.
And Savannah Marshall beat Clarissa Shields
on the amateurs.
In the amateurs.
Oh,
so that's always fun to watch those rematches. A lot of times, it does end up, the tables turning.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Being honest, Savannah Marshall's nice. Yeah, she's really good. So we'll see what's up though, man. Like, but that's crazy. Like she's gonna do an MMA bout, and then she's gonna box like 2 months. So she's gonna train. She's gonna go immediately to training, boxing. She's gonna have to spar and everything.
So she probably did an MMA camp, and she definitely had a long camp because she says she wants to have nice long camps for her MMA fights, and then have the fight and probably go straight into her boxing camp.
Yeah, that's insane, man.
That's crazy.
We'll see how that plays out, but
she's doing it. I think she'll be the first, right? She has to be the first to go back and forth, professionally defend
successfully. Yeah,
yeah, that's crazy.
A lot of those guys just end up getting knocked out or choked out.
But you know what I mean? With her, is like she's doing it the right way. Like she's going up through, going up through the fights, building her skills up and doing it instead of just jumping in and doing like some kind of entertainment circus fight, like, you know, these new fights.
Right,
Like,
yeah,
she's doing
yeah.
real MMA fights and doing real boxing fights. Really dope, really impressive, man. Really huge fan of her.
Yeah.
So that's when Wednesday on PFL, which I think is on ESPN Plus. Definitely gonna try to watch that.
Yo, did you see that video of Teofimo Lopez with the guy from Game of Thrones?
The Mountain.
The Mountain?
Who I don't know if you know who that guy is. He's like he played the Mountain, this huge character on Game of Thrones. He was in the he used to compete in the World Strongman competition. So he's literally like one of the strongest men in the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
That makes it even more stupid.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I don't know if people even know who this guy is.
So Teofimo Lopez was in the gym with this guy, and if you don't know, I mean, we just explained, and this guy's enormous.
Yeah.
Like, he's huge, and as he said, just one of the strongest guys in the world. So, Teofimo Lopez tenses his stomach and lets dude just wail on him in his stomach as hard as he can. I don't think that was as hard as he can. I mean, that was hard, but
It was really hard, but yeah.
like, talk about, bro, like, you got to fight. And we finally got a date, by the way, on the zone, November 27th. Teofimo Lopez taking on George Kambosos. Finally, a fight that's been long overdue.
Yeah, for sure.
And there was a very good chance it could have got rescheduled for like the 9th time because of some stupid shit like that. That was dumb, bro.
Yeah.
That was really dumb. And speaking of dumb and DAZN, DAZN's gonna start charging pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's
that
crazy.
really irks my soul, man. Like, so
that was their whole marketing point. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, you know, you pay a small
literally,
monthly fee.
it was like, we're gonna
and no pay-per-views.
Their marketing ad or mission statement was like, we're gonna kill pay-per-view, and now it's like, by the way,
Psych.
Yeah, psych. Man, that's terrible, man. But anyways, at least we're gonna get some fights, man. You know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we know that DAZN's their whole thing didn't work out the way they wanted it to. You know, what I mean, I think the pandemic, you know, like everybody, kind of hit them hard.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So they gotta make some money.
Because people wanted their money back from not being. Yeah, man. Bad times, but So, anyways, Josh Taylor was scheduled to fight in like in December, and his bout was rescheduled to February 26th due to an injury. He's still set to take on Jack Catterall. Dillian White was supposed to take on Otto Wallin next week.
Mhm.
That also is canceled due to an injury. However, it may not be rescheduled because Tyson Fury he's the mandatory for Tyson Fury, and Fury has 30 days from the day after winning against Wilder. He has 30 days to make a deal with the winner of Usyk AJ for Undisputed.
Yeah.
And if not, then he has to fight Dillian White. So now Otto Wallin's coach and his team they had a lot to say about that, and now they question the validity of Dillian White's injury. Because that wasn't a gimme fight, man. Otto Wallin, he's a tough guy.
Yeah.
You know, he gave Tyson Fury hell. He beat Dominic Brazil, beat our guy Travis Kaufman.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, he's a good fighter. So, you know, I'm not saying that White is ducking him, but you know, if he doesn't fight him and he goes straight to the, I mean, you can't blame him for taking the Tyson Fury fight.
Yeah,
you can't blame him at all.
Obviously, for him, it's not dodging the fight; it's just trying to get the bigger payday.
Yeah, and opportunity. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, that's a lineal heavyweight championship right there. Plus the opportunity to become undisputed.
Yep.
So, but that's what's going on currently in the heavyweight division. I don't think we have a date for the AJ Usyk rematch, but it is happening early next year.
Nice.
So, and then just real quick, November 6th, Canelo Plant, Showtime pay-per-view, November 20th. Crawford Porter, ESPN pay-per-view, 27th. You got Lopez Kambosos on DAZN. The 27th, as you mentioned, Clarissa Shields in PFL. And then also in November, you have David Benavidez taking on Uzcategui. So that'll set up a David Benavidez and Canelo Alvarez fight, possibly.
Nice.
As long as those guys win. Also, Stefan Fulton taking on, was it Brandon Figueroa? Yeah. So, in November.
Nice.
I believe that's the last fight in November. Yeah, man. Some good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff indeed.
I don't know if you saw Nate Diaz. He called out Tony Ferguson the other day.
Oh man, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I think that'd be a really good fight, man. I don't know what happened though, because Nate was supposed to fight Luque. What the hell is his name? Vicente Luque.
Mm.
He was supposed to fight him, and I don't know what happened. I think the fight maybe didn't. I don't know. They didn't agree to it or something. But he called out Tony Ferguson, and then they asked Dana White about it at the post-fight conference for the Vettori fight, and he mentioned how this is Nate's last deal or last fight on his deal, and that he hasn't expressed wanting to renew his deal or whatever. So it's kind of interesting to see what happens. What happens there. I wonder if he's just gonna finish his contract and be done, or maybe he'll be done. He'll be out of his UFC contract, so maybe he'll do some boxing. You know what I mean?
Bellator.
Or I think he'll probably go to boxing and probably do some of these crazy box somebody.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty interesting.
Oh, yo,
Yeah.
Mike Tyson and Logan Paul. I forgot about that.
Like I can see Nate Diaz doing something crazy like that, like fighting one of the Paul brothers.
Mike Tyson and Logan Paul. Is it Logan?
Yeah, Logan's a bigger one. Yeah,
Logan. Yeah, Logan, the guy who fought Floyd. Yo, this motherfucker fought Floyd. Now he about to fight Mike Tyson. Except, he better request headgear, man. Cause
or they better have one that they kind of alluded to an agreement between Mike Tyson and
Roy
Jones Jr. that said that supposedly they agreed not to knock each other out or no major like head blows.
I feel but I think the pressure, not pressure, but like, well, for lack of a better term, I'll say the pressure of like everybody and anybody who's gonna want to see Mike Tyson knock this guy out
For sure.
And if anything, I think it's just gonna be more like a like he's gonna catch him with one clean shot, and he's just gonna like go down. He's gonna be like, "Oh my god, I felt it,"
And it might be a body shot.
And yeah, it might be a body shot. Yeah, absolutely. Oh man, I'm just like, I was so shocked when I seen it. Like I seen a picture, and I'm just like, all right,
me too.
somebody probably just made the picture, and then I seen some credible sources posting about it. And
I'm not surprised though, because I was watching an episode of Mike Tyson's Hot Box, and they asked him like, "Oh, will you fight one of the Paul brothers?" And he was like, "Yeah, for the right amount of money, yeah, I'll do it." And right when that happened, I was like, "That's gonna happen somehow. Like, that's gonna end up happening."
Yeah, I was like, somebody's light bulb went off.
And then fucking, I guess Jake is gonna fight the Fury brother or whatever.
Oh yeah, Tommy Fury.
Which is so dumb, man.
Yeah,
like,
I hate how he's getting billed as a real boxer. I mean, I guess technically that he is, but it's like he's not though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's as real of a boxer as the other guy that was boxing on those Paul brother cards. I forget his name, man. That heavyweight that fought I can't remember the guy who fought him. Joe Fournier. The billionaire, he owns a nightclub. And he's a professional fighter who just fought people in like Costa Rica or something like that. Like, a place where there's just like no real, professionals. And so he got this like undefeated record. And David Haye, that's who he fought. Like, it's like one of those. So it's, again, I guess I can't get too mad. He's doing what boxers do. And that's take on easy opponents in your first few fights to build you up. Except he's just doing it in a very strategic way in terms of marketing.
But I think this one, he's definitely taking a step back in competition.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think that's the biggest thing. Like I don't think that makes any sense.
But again, he's still doing good in terms of marketing and now you have Tyson Fury in the mix. And did you hear what he said?
What?
That if he loses, he has to change his name.
Oh shit!
He's like, you can't have the Fury name if you lose to a guy like that. And I think his dad said that too. I think his dad said it, and Fury basically regurgitated it. But I'm like, yeah, that makes sense because it's funny, man.
And he's probably gonna lose to him.
Oh yeah,
he probably will lose to him.
Yeah, his last fight, he was taking a lot of punches, and he was boxing an MMA fighter, which usually not the hardest guys to beat.
Yeah, so. But I think this is also a little bit like less interest in it. Like I don't know, like I'm not as interested in this one as I was in seeing him fight Ben Askren or Tyron Woodley, or even, you know what I mean, even
Yeah,
fucking.
Woodley was the only interesting one to me so far.
I mean, I just wanted to. I mean, like the Askren fight wasn't an interesting fight itself, but I wanted to see what was gonna happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like this. I don't think this one does as many pay-per-views or whatever. Like, I think this kind of hurts him a little bit. Unless he has a crazy knockout and it goes viral, then
Yeah.
that'll work.
Yeah, but beforehand, he's gonna have to have some good fights on the undercard or something, which is what he did for the last one. Kudos to that. So
Yeah,
if he gives me a good undercard, I got it. Yeah, man.
word.
Yo, next week we have Jose Cepeda taking on Josue Vargas, a Mexico versus Puerto Rico fight.
Nice.
So I'm gonna be rooting for Vargas. But yeah, Cepeda was in well, I'd say a historic fight with Baranchek.
Mhm.
Ivan Baranchek. Yeah. Yeah. So that should be a good one. That's all I got next week for boxing.
Yeah, and then next week we got the big UFC 267. It's gonna be free on ESPN Plus. The main card starts at 2:00, so that's gonna be pretty
Another
early.
early one.
Yeah. Jan Blachowicz is gonna defend his light heavyweight title against Glover Teixeira. Glover Teixeira, man, this is crazy. That he's still fighting, and I kind of hope he wins it, man. I kind of hope he wins it. He's like well-rounded fighter. This guy's tough as, you know what I mean. He's a fucking killer.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen him fight Anthony Smith his last couple fights, man. He literally was like knocking teeth out of his mouth.
Wow.
It was crazy. He was beating the shit out of him. And if it wasn't for a guy named John Jones, this guy probably would have been champ. You know what I mean? He fought John Jones early on. That was his first title shot, and he lost, obviously. And he's on a hell of a run right now. He has great striking, great jiu-jitsu. Jan Blachowicz definitely got the Polish power, so we'll see what happens. And Jan beat Izzy, man. He gets a lot of points in my book for that. Like, I mean, like, so we'll see what happens. I'm kind of rooting for Glover though. I kind of hope Glover beats him.
Yeah.
I can see Glover. I can see Glover submitting him. Honestly, I can see that happening. I don't know if he knocks him out. I think Glover has to win by submission, and I think he'll get it. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
The co-main, the interim title, the bantamweight interim title is gonna be on the line. Peter Yan and Corey Sandhagen. This is probably gonna be fight of the night. This fight, and I think Corey gets him, man. I think Corey's more well-rounded. Is more. I think his skills are just. I think he just has a wider skill set. That guy can do everything, and I think after coming off that loss with T.J. Dillashaw, I think he really learned a lot, and I think mentally he's where he needs to be. Peter Yan,
that's not for the title, right?
interim title, because Aljamain supposedly is the Aljamain is the champ, and he's still got he's recovering from his neck surgery he had, so he's gonna be out. So so this is gonna be interim, and then the next fight, lightweight, Islam Makhachev, Dan Hooker. That should be a great fight.
Yeah.
I got Dan Hooker in that one, man. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, Makhachev, they call him Khabib 2.0, but I feel like he hasn't really fought anybody like that high level. And Dan Hooker, I think, is such a veteran. I think he finds a way to win him, man. I feel like it's gonna be interesting. The grappling's gonna be interesting because Dan Hooker can grapple. He can grapple his ass off. So we'll see. That's gonna be interesting. I think Dan Hooker can get him though.
Nice.
Alexander Volkov, heavyweight, comes back to fight Marcin Tybura. That should be a good fight. Volkov is fun to watch. Yingling. That guy's crazy. Chinese fighter. He's fun to watch. He takes on Kamzat Chimaev. The Russian guy, he comes back after having COVID, and he had a couple fights and canceled a bunch of fights.
Yeah.
Should be fun to see him fight again. And then another light heavyweight, Magedov. I don't know how to say his name. Magomed Anklev takes on Volkan Ozdemir. Light heavyweight fight. That should be a good fight too. I'm excited for that one. October 30th. And then 268 is obviously the same night as the Canelo fight. That one's That's the stat card, man. I can't wait for that.
Beautiful fights.
But yeah, man, a lot of good fights coming up.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I can't wait, man, for a lot of these events. You know,
Word.
Javante Davis taking on Rolly Romero.
Is that November too?
Oh, and that's December.
Oh, well.
December 3rd, like that. But those guys were going at it on the press conference, man. It wasn't no Canelo Plant shit, but
Yeah.
it was pretty fun, man. You know, I don't see that fight being competitive at all, man. So
No,
yeah, I got Tank in like 3 or 4 rounds, bro. Yeah,
that should be fun to watch.
but it's fun though, man. You know, to hear Rolly talk. You know, he has that really weird, shot voice.
Yeah.
Sounds weird, man. He'll knock me out, I know, but you know, that dude, I don't know, he about to get lit, bro. I think.
Word.
But yeah, man, you know, I think that wraps up episode 14.
Yeah.
You know, until next week, we thank you for tuning in. My name is Manny.
My name's Alberto.
This is the Only Fights podcast, and we out.